there's a huge issue out here that neither side addressed that's going to be looming over for his first year in office, which is, if you look at the CBO numbers, we're looking at deficits in the $1 trillion range as early as 2020 or 2021. Those are numbers that get people very, very scared. And neither side has talked about anything.
Yeah.
They're talking about spending more, right? Running up more debt, having a $1 trillion, at least a $500 billion infrastructure spending bill. And will that generate enough revenue through higher growth rates to offset this gigantic increase in debt that's coming up? We're already at almost 80% debt to GDP. We're in scary territory now, and all the projections are not good.
I think that's actually a really important point, totally underplayed in the election cycle. And this dovetails with what he's going to be able to get through in terms of tax reform. His plan, would cut taxes dramatically, both on corporations and rich individuals. He's not so much talking about closing loopholes. The House Republicans have a plan that would actually end up being a little bit better in terms of debt and deficit, because they're talking about actually closing loopholes.
Like what kinds of loopholes?
Well, hedge funds, ways to that rich individuals and corporations can basically get around the tax code. You need to raise revenue that way. This also intersects with what I think is going to be this big meta theme. This is a guy who ran a campaign saying status quo globalization is not working, status quo capitalism is not working. But once he starts implementing his policies, is he going to be perceived as just another rich, business-friendly conservative who's doing the same trickle-down economics as anybody else would? Or is he going to be able to keep that populist sentiment that carried him to office?
The populists drove the whole campaign, both Hillary, the entire campaign.
Yeah.
And so, what does that mean for business, do you think, Jeff?
Well, we'll have to see. You've got to get this stuff through a very closely divided Senate. So what actually comes out of all of this may be a lot more watered down than what we're hearing. Certainly, it's a wide open question. I think business leaders are a little unsure about where all this is going. One of the things related to the debt, though, is the potential for politicization of the Fed. This is a big risk. Interest rates have already started to rise, and if markets are perceiving that the Fed might become a policy tool of the leaders in Washington, that's going to really worry markets. And it's not so much the level of debt, it's the cost of that debt that's going to come into play. And that could become an increasing concern as well, and also begin to price out corporations, which now are seeing very low borrowing rates. That could change.